Linkin Park's new lead singer, Emily Armstrong, is responding to significant backlash surrounding her past association with Danny Masterson of That 70s Show. She's got a new statement out. Today, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly surrounding Linkin Park's reunion. Let's jump into it. So after months of rampant speculation, finally we found out the rumors were true and Linkin Park is back at an epic event on Thursday in Burbank, California. The band took the stage and introduced Emily Armstrong to the world. Now, I'm sure before she joined the band, she knew she was getting into an impossible situation. But all things considered, I thought she did a really good job up on stage. I thought it was very clever, the whole rollout with Linkin Park, so much fun. Over the last couple of weeks, the countdown clock, I thought they did a fantastic job at creating anticipation for this band. But when the clock struck zero, everyone's like, what the hell is going on? And now we know there was, in fact, a very creative and deeper meaning, given that the album is called From Zero, which is also a nod to their original name before Linkin Park. So I thought that was great. I like the new song, The Emptiness Machine, although it's not, to me, it doesn't outperform anything on Meteora or One Step Closer, but I also think it's very unfair to compare the two. But in general, I like the song. It's not my favorite Linkin Park song ever, but it's definitely a true to form Linkin Park track. And, I've listened to it several times now and I really enjoyed it. I also didn't enjoy the ticket buying experience for Linkin Park. So I went into the queue. I found out that, if you join the LP Underground, you can get access to a pre-sale code. And I thought, well, this will be my best chance to be able to get into this Linkin Park show. I don't know anyone with Linkin Park or anything, so I'm like, let me just see if how this will work and whatever. So I paid my $25, and I'm sure many of you did as well. And I get up at 10 and I go in and I put my code in, and they're like, there are no more tickets left. Ticketmaster was completely unhelpful. It just said there were no more tickets left, which was just an erroneous, incorrect code from them. And so I'm like, why is my shit not working? I want my $25 back. I had to go into another queue at noon. Once I get into that queue, there's like 50,000 people in the queue. And I'm just like, man, this. And so I hope that they didn't get $25 from like 50,000 people, many of whom didn't even get to buy tickets. That is a big cash grab if that's the case, but who knows? I also was pretty surprised at, Linkin Park really giving some really advanced notice to a number of publications. The interviews have been good and, they should do interviews with everybody. But so far it's felt really corporate. I know a lot of you have asked if there's an opportunity to have Linkin Park here on the podcast. I have asked, haven't gotten a response. We will see about it, but y'all know I am trying my hardest to make that happen. And, I hope that does occur. And if it does, I'd be honored to have them as guests. It does seem like they didn't anticipate the amount of scrutiny that Emily Armstrong was going to be under. And again, I support her as the singer. I'm happy to see them moving forward. And I'm really looking forward to whenever the opportunity is that I'll be able to see them live. But I want to say, I was pretty surprised that this has kind of been fumbled with them, that you didn't see the Scientology stuff coming apparently, or the Danny Masterson stuff. As soon as the announcement was made, I started to see rumblings online about this stuff. I'm starting to dig into it, but it was kind of hard to make heads or tails about what was true and what was false. But then you have a member of the Mars Volta blasting her and blasting the band for associating with Danny Masterson and Scientology and all of that. And so let's take a look at the details of that and ultimately her response to all of this. She did issue a response, and then we're going to talk about the fallout for all of this and what this means for Linkin Park going forward. This is what we know. Almost immediately after Linkin Park introduced their new singer, Emily Armstrong, there was chatter on social media about her ties to Scientology and convicted rapist Danny Masterson, who is currently serving 30 years to life in prison. Yesterday, the Mars Volta's Cedric Bixler-Zavala took to social media to slam Linkin Park and their new vocalist Emily Armstrong over her connections to Scientology and her past support for Danny Masterson. The subject is a personal one for Cedric Bixler-Zavala, whose wife is one of Danny Masterson's accusers. Masterson, who starred in That 70s Show, was convicted in court on charges brought by two Jane Doe accusers. The Mars Volta's Cedric Bixler-Zavala reshared on his Instagram story yesterday a comment he left a year ago on Emily Armstrong's other band, Dead Sarah's Instagram. He wrote, "I'm surprised none of you wrote a letter on Danny Masterson's behalf, since your corny-ass singer showed up to support him in the prelims. Remember, Emily? Remember how your fellow Scientologist goon squad surrounded one of the Jane Does when she was trying to leave the elevators? The court sheriffs had to escort her away from your awful cult. How do you reconcile the homophobia found in the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard's Dianetics?" And late last night, Emily Armstrong released a statement in response to the backlash. She wrote, "Hi, I'm Emily. I'm new to so many of you, and I wanted to clear the air about something that happened a while back. Several years ago, I was asked to support someone I considered a friend at a court appearance, and went to one early hearing as an observer. Soon after, I realized I shouldn't have. I always try to see the good in people, and I misjudged him. I have never spoken with him since. Unimaginable details emerged, and he was later found guilty. To say it as clearly as possible, I do not condone abuse or violence against women, and I empathize with the victims of these crimes." So in that statement, Emily says that, early on, she thought she was supporting a friend, and then she learned a lot about the details of that case, and then ultimately realized that it was a mistake for her to have supported him, and she's making herself very clear that she is totally opposed to him and supports the victims of that horrible, horrible person, Danny Masterson, who is now imprisoned 30 years to life. Now, that is your latest update here from Rockfeed. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on for the latest news and updates about your favorite bands.